Hello, everyone. Welcome to our
Hey,
webinar. My name is Gintari, and today we have a very special guest with us. Hello, Pavelas. How are you?
hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I was actually really looking forward to this webinar because I know you have a lot of useful information to share with us, right?
Well, I hope so.
So Pavelas is basically a rock star of Google Analytics. He joined Hostinger in 2018 when it was still a small startup. So you can imagine that he gathered a lot of experience and knowledge till this very day. Previously, he led the paid advertising team, right? And now he's
Yeah.
working in the UX team as head of activation. Actually, I really love your job title, head of activation. It sounds really cool for me.
Yeah, I think it's a new title.
Yeah, I haven't heard it before. So, Pavelas, it's clear that data and analytics goes hand in hand with your daily life. But tell me, what excites you about working with data the most?
Hey, yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, so I think like I just have like a passion for learning new things and like diving deep into like analytics, data, ads, and all of that stuff just really helped me learn a lot of things, like basically all the way like what do people do when they see an ad, what do they do after they click an ad, what do they do on the website, etc. So it's just really interesting to try to learn new things, and like data is a way to do it. So yeah.
Nice, awesome. Thank you for the answer. Okay, before we start, I would like to inform our viewers that throughout this webinar, you can ask questions in the comments, and after the presentation, Pavelas will answer them in the Q&A session. Okay, Pavelas, if you're ready, the spotlight is yours.
Thanks. Yeah. So welcome everyone to this webinar about Google Analytics. So basically, what I'll talk about today is what we can do all the way from setting up Google Analytics to later using it on a daily basis, analyzing the traffic, like seeing what people do on your website, figuring out places that can be improved, etc. So yeah, so let's take a look at the agenda. So yeah, I'll just cover all these things like setting up, watching the traffic, finding out what people do on the website, what we can improve, and actually one more important thing is that what we can do to bring more high quality visitors after we do all of the points above. So setting up Google Analytics sounds or maybe looks a bit scary at first, but it's just a small process you have to go through, and then everything's set up and done. So you just basically go to google.com/analytics and create an account. So it's pretty straightforward. And then what happens is when you have this account, you can set up a property for your website. So here you can see in the example, I just created a property name like myawesomewebsite.com or something like that. You can choose the time zone, you can choose the currency, which let's say sales or ad revenue will be reported in. And Google Analytics actually converts currencies into this one if you have multiple currencies on your website, in case you like do drop shipping or something like that. So if you're selling euros, dollars, as long as you tell Google Analytics that you have this multiple currencies, then it will convert everything into your preferred one. So yeah, after you set up the property, you can just go into the dashboard. And there's a lot of options here, but basically all you need to know is looking at your property settings, attaching data streams to your Google Analytics, which is, by the way, I'm looking at Google Analytics 4 here, which is the new and updated version of Google Analytics. And it's pretty much most likely going to be the future of Google Analytics. So I'm immediately preparing everyone for this one, for this version. So yeah, and then you can also link, let's say, Google Ads or other Google properties to your Google Analytics account, so you have everything in one place. Yeah, so what you need to know basically after you set up this property, you will get a measurement ID, and then you will use this measurement ID to connect your website to Google Analytics. Yeah, so that's pretty straightforward, because before you connect to Google Analytics to your website, it's just going to be an empty account. So let's take a look at how we can actually connect it. So yeah, so there's basically like three main ways how you can install Google Analytics to your website. So the first way that I recommend is to use Google Tag Manager. It's let's say a platform created by Google, especially like having people in mind, like who like just built their website and they need like some easy, simple solution to integrate Google Analytics into their website. You can use different means, like install it via WordPress plugins if you have a WordPress website, or try to add it directly into the website code. But I don't recommend this because even if it works fine for now, when you add it directly into the code, you might have a lot of headaches later in case something needs to change. And Google Tag Manager is like a container that is very, very simple to manage and change anything if you need to. Yeah, so once you set up Google Analytics, next you need to set up account at Google Tag Manager, because that is the recommended way to install Google Analytics into your website. So again, all you need to do is simply go to the URL tagmanager.google.com and set up an account, then set up a container for your website, just like you did with Google Analytics, and simply select, in this case, you would select web for your target platform, because we're talking about websites here, but there's other things you can use it for. Let's see, iOS apps, Android apps, AMP, mobile pages, etc. Yeah, and oh, by the way, and of course, all of this is free, so it's just something that Google built to make our lives easier, so we should take advantage of it. Yeah, and then once you have Google Tag Manager, all you have to do is connect your Google Tag Manager to a Google Analytics account. So the way you do it is you simply log in to your account that you just created, you open tags, and then you create a new tag. And a tag is basically like just an event that's going to fire every time you want to send data to Google Analytics. So that's basically what a tag is. So you just select a tag that's called Google Analytics J4 configuration, and you enter this measurement ID that you saw previously in your Google Analytics web stream. It consists of like G hyphen and like some symbols afterwards. And all you have to do is add a trigger so that this event fires. So let's see here in the example, I have a page view. So it will fire every time that somebody opens a page on my website. And I simply selected a trigger like all pages. So every time somebody opens a page, the event will fire, and we will track data on what page the person opened on our website. And I actually, like a small tip, I recommend choosing this DOM ready type of page view, because it helps load your website faster, because it delays Google Analytics loading a little bit. So there's 3 ways you can do it. I advise to choose this DOM ready type of trigger. Yeah, so basically what we did so far is we put Google Analytics into our Google Tag Manager container. So those 3 stripes represent Google Analytics, and the cube blue like diamond represents Google Tag Manager. That's the logo. But now we need to put all of this into our website, so it connects with our URL, our website. So the easiest way to do this, if you're using WordPress, is to install, again, an official plugin that's created by Google. It's of course free, and it's like maintained and updated by Google. It's called Sitekit by Google, and yeah, just make sure that it's the official one by Google. So you can check the author when you install the plugin. You can check the amount of active installations. It has around like 1 million and more. You can check the ratings and just make sure that it's the official one. And yeah, and just add it as a plugin to your WordPress website. Just go into plugins, add new, find this Sitekit by Google, and install it. Yeah, and then once you open up this plugin in your WordPress website, all you have to do is connect your tag manager to this plugin. You basically just click a few buttons. It connects if you're using Gmail, it will just connect your Gmail account to detect that you have a Google Tag Manager account. You click connect, and it starts working. And yeah, basically then you can go straight into Google Analytics, and it's gonna start working the moment you install all of these things: Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, and put it inside the plugin in your website. Yeah, so that's the installation part. It's pretty easy, I think. I mean, it sounds difficult before you do it. Afterwards, it's super easy. So yeah, just follow these steps. And what we can do next, we can start gathering data, and we can take a look at our Google Analytics reports to find out what's happening on our website. So Of course, when you first install it, there's probably not going to be much data in there because your website's going to be fresh. So it's going to have like just a few visitors, yourself, and maybe some people that already discovered your website. But in the meanwhile, you can use like this demo account that Google Analytics has built for people just to play around and learn. You can find it in this URL, which is quite long, so maybe take a screenshot or something. But basically, if you just write into Google Analytics demo account, it will pop up. And again, I will look into the Google Analytics 4 version of this demo account because, yeah, that's like the newest version of Google Analytics. Yeah, so first you have the home page like overview. So here you can see like a lot of different data just dropped into the homepage for like a quick overview to check if everything's okay with your website. You're not gonna like find any revelations here probably, but it's just like a quick view of like, just to see if everything's okay, if anything changed. So you can see like a timeline, like how many people visit your website. They're called users here. You can check your revenue. You can check how many people visited in the last 30 minutes. You can check some automated insights, which sometimes, it's machine learning. So sometimes it can be very good, or sometimes it can be something completely obvious. So you can just have a quick look there. And yeah, just some basic breakdowns, like where your users are coming from. So like the medium, which you can like attach to your links when you let's say post links to your website somewhere on LinkedIn or something, or on Facebook, or you run ads. You can use links with UTM codes to like try to figure out where your traffic came from. So like you can use campaigns, medium, source, and stuff like that through UTM codes. And yeah, like basic demographic information, like where your traffic is coming from. But if you go into the more detailed reports, then things can get a bit more interesting. So here we see the acquisition report. So basically, this is like a more detailed breakdown of what campaigns are bringing traffic to your website. So again, you can, every time you post a link somewhere, you can attach UTM codes. You can actually Google like UTM code generator and attach it to your link when you post it somewhere. And then you'll see this traffic broken down into separate groups, and you can see which, like, let's say link or which campaign, which source is bringing more traffic, and how that traffic is performing. Yeah, and then you can take a look at the engagement to see what people are actually doing on the website, because previously we just saw the amount of people that are coming to the website, but maybe the campaign that's bringing the most visitors is bringing low quality traffic. They just open it up and leave straight away. So you can check their engagement, like what pages they're visiting, what events they're firing, and you can even create additional events in Google Tag Manager to find out what exactly people did. Let's say like if they clicked on some specific button you want them to click on, you can create an event for that and check what type of visitors do this event more often than others, and you can then focus on this traffic because it's the highest quality for you. Yeah, so here we see an example of some events. So these are standard events that Google Analytics 4 creates automatically. The previous versions didn't do that, but let's say like if somebody scrolls to the bottom of the website or they start viewing a video, Google Analytics 4 detects this automatically. So it's a bit of a like this new version made things much easier for people especially with the installation process. You can also check what type of devices people use. So, like here we see like this Google Analytics demo store has a lot of traffic from desktop, but it's probably no surprise that most of the traffic these days comes from mobile devices. So looking at what devices people use, like what is their screen resolution and stuff, will help you optimize your website. Like nowadays you have to have like a responsive website or even a mobile first design, especially if you have like an e-shop, so you can optimize better for your conversions, just to make things very easy for people. So maybe here you'll see that everybody who's using desktop, they come to your e-commerce store and they buy something, but everybody who's using mobile, they just click around and then they give up because it's too difficult to use, or maybe something even is broken. So yeah, it's pretty important to keep an eye on this. Yeah, and then some, demographic information. I'm not a big fan of, let's say, all these breakdowns by age and stuff like that, but it can be very valuable to see what countries people are visiting your website from. So you can also have keep an eye on the time zones when you can expect more traffic or less. So here we can see, that a lot of people are visiting the website from the United States. But if somebody only start getting traffic from, let's say, Greece or something, then you might want to think about a localized version, for people in that country. So yeah, again, this is like something you can keep an eye on in case you want to expand into new countries and into new languages. Yeah, and then you can actually create audiences based on all of these parameters. So let's say you can use some event that somebody performed. Let's say they added something into cart. You can group all of the visitors who performed this event, and you can create an audience that you can analyze, and you can even attach it to your, let's say, your Google Ads account, and then you can launch ads for them. So let's say if you detect like some event that lets you know that this traffic is high quality, you might want to create a separate audience for them instead of just advertising for everybody who's visited your website if there's some traffic that's not performing as well as your other audiences. Yeah, and then my favorite part of Google Analytics is this analysis hub. It has a lot of very different reports which you can customize yourself. So there's a lot of different report types. Let's see, funnel analysis. So funnel analysis lets you know like how many people dropped off at some part of your website. So let's say you have the top funnel, all visitors, and then somebody adds to cart, and then if they attach their payment information, if they go through the checkout process, and finally if they purchase anything. So you can see the drop-off points, and you can figure out if anything is wrong or if anything can be improved in any of these drop-off points. So let's say in this example here, we can see that there's a pretty big difference between how many visitors added something to cart and how many people actually ended up purchasing something. So yeah, we can try to figure out what went wrong there, and if just looking at these two parameters is not really giving us much information, we can add more events in just use Google Tag Manager to create more events, and just try to figure out where exactly something goes wrong, and then we can break it down, let's say by device, by country. Maybe we're not doing shipping to some country. Maybe some marketing channels bringing low quality traffic. So you can just break everything down and try to figure out what went wrong. Yeah, and this is another example of a cohort analysis. So let's say if your website depends on people visiting it, let's say you're running like a blog or a website that has AdSense ads on it, or any other type of ads. Let's say it's like some Facebook ads or affiliate marketing or something like that. You can check out cohort analyses. So it shows you how many people come back to your website after initially visiting it. So actually we can see that this Google demo account has a pretty bad cohort score. 14,000 people visited and then only 660 come back the next week. So that would be a pretty bad score. You should if you want to build like a loyal audience, you should pretty much optimize, so that people come back, the next week. So this is especially important if your website depends on making revenue from showing ads. You can break it down further. Let's say instead of a weekly cohort, you can check daily if people come back to your website daily, or select the larger time period, monthly, etc. Right, and actually, my favorite part of the favorite part is building a custom report. You start from a blank, clean slate, and then you just attach all the data you're personally interested in, and you can discard everything that's suggested by you, but you find it irrelevant. So let's say here, I created a very simple report just to check which pages are visited the most on this website. So all I did was add a dimension of, you can either choose page URL or page title, whatever is better for you. Page URL can be unique, but maybe it's easier for you to analyze via page title, so you can add that. And then in the values column, I simply added active users just to see how many people visited this page. And we can see that in this website, obviously the homepage, it's most of the time it's the most popular page. But let's say if you're running a blog, or you're running like a news website or something like that, you could discover that some article is very popular right now, or some other page is very popular. Or maybe you run an e-commerce store and people don't visit your homepage, but they find your product somewhere on Google Shopping or ads or something like that. So you can just see what pages are more popular than others. And then, so this is pretty basic information, but then let's say we wanted to break something down. So here I just got an idea to check how this differs between countries. So all I did was simply add another row for country before the page title. And right now it seems a bit messy, right? So you can't really understand what's going on, what page is popular in what country, because there's so much data and it's pretty scattered. So then, the next thing we have to do is just add filters. So all I did was add a filter here for country that, exactly matches the letters Canada. So basically we just filter for Canada. And we can see that, what amount of traffic we have in Canada and what pages they are most popular. So again, you could, instead of doing this for a country, you could do this for marketing campaign, or you can do both. Let's say marketing campaign and country, or any other, dimension you decide to add into your rows. You can just break it down. And then you can actually even just delete the row that repeats itself. Here, let's say, I had 2,900 people visiting the homepage in Canada, but I can just simply delete that row because I leave the filter on, and it's much easier to analyze everything now. So again, it's like a little tip just to keep everything clean, so that it's easier to spot some things that stand out. So again, if you're just going through all of the possible dimensions, let's say marketing campaigns, countries, technology, demographic information, other types of information, like returning visitors, maybe some custom segments, mobile traffic, paid traffic, stuff like that. So yeah, it's much easier to just keep everything clean, so that it's easier to notice some things that stand out from the rest. So it can either be something that's very good or something that's very bad. Maybe it's a marketing campaign that you have to increase the budget for, or maybe it's a marketing campaign that you should just turn off and forget it ever existed. So yeah, so just some tips. Once you install the Google Analytics account, just go through all of the basic reports, try to learn it by heart, pretty much all of the data that is available. But just remember that it's pretty easy to get lost in the overviews that Google Analytics, created for everybody. But no answers are ever given that easy to everyone. Everybody's in their own personal situation. Everybody's website is different. So yeah, just keep all of the possibilities that Google Analytics gives you in mind, but then, try to work things out for yourself, what works best for you, instead of chasing benchmarks or trying to figure out what works for everyone else. So the best way to do that is to just segment your visitors, compare data between smaller groups, break it down by source, medium, campaign, country, technology, stuff like that, anything you can think of. And then once you find something but you can't really figure out what went wrong, but you see that something is wrong, then create custom events in Google Tag Manager, just to better understand, where people drop off. Maybe they don't see some button, maybe they don't click the button. Maybe they're clicking it, but it doesn't take them anywhere. Maybe, just something is broken on the website. So yeah, just to create these custom events to, better understand how people are engaging with every page on your website. And then just discover new points of view, by creating your custom reports, because everybody's situation is different. Every website is different. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the slides I had prepared. So yeah, just again, follow along the setup. The setup is probably the most daunting part. It seems like a big and difficult deal, but once you do it, just open up some follow along tutorial or something like that and just get it over with. and then it's gonna be fun after that. At least if you're into like analyzing all of these reports, like other data geeks. So yeah, I guess that's all from my slides.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah.
Thank you, Pavelas. It was a great presentation. I, as a video editor myself, I really agree with the advice to keep things clean. Yeah. Okay. So if you don't have anything to add, we can move on to the Q&A session, right?
All right.
All right, guys, let's see your questions. So I'm sorry in advance if I mispronounce any names. Let's start with this one.
I think that was me, sorry.
No, it's okay. Sir, please, Today Gaming is asking, sir, please reply how to create a unique website. I think I can also reply to this one.
Yeah.
How to create a unique website. There is a lot of information in our Hostinger Academy channel. You can watch a lot of videos that we made. You can also check out our Hostinger tutorials. Yeah.
So I think it's one of our most popular videos on Hostinger Academy channel. Like Gvidas, our instructor, made a whole walkthrough tutorial. You can just open it in a separate tab and check every button he clicks, and just like getting your domain name, getting hosting, installing WordPress, stuff like that. So it's one of our most popular videos, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for your question, Today Gaming.
Yeah.
Next one, we have Akash, I guess. Hi, Gintar and Pavelas. First of all, thank you for this clear explanation. Thank you for participating, Akash. I do have a question. Would you recommend installing Google Analytics when starting fresh new blog when there is absolutely no traffic?
Well, I mean, it's free, so you don't lose anything by installing it. First, I guess you got to write a few blogs or something just to spread the message. But then I would definitely advise installing Google Analytics before you start sharing the articles or even maybe advertising it somewhere, because then you will better understand what actually happens when people come to your website, and which articles are the most popular, which pages are the most popular. Because if you just start marketing everything, or like start posting on Reddit or Facebook or your LinkedIn or something, inviting people to your website, and you don't have any like analytics software, then you won't know if anybody visited, you won't know what pages they visited, you won't know if they spent an hour there reading everything you have, or they just clicked and left immediately. So yeah, I would definitely recommend installing Google Analytics as fast as possible. But there's some technical things that have to come first. So let's say just like creating the website in general. But then yeah, it should be like one of the things on the checklist.
Okay, thank you, Pavelas, and thank you, Akash, for the question. We have next one from SFH Chemistry. Sir, can we use same tag manager for two different websites?
Well, theoretically, yes, but if the websites are very different, then I would advise just creating a separate container in Google Tag Manager, because again, it doesn't really, there's no fee attached to it or anything like that. So the only thing is that maybe you had like a massive Google Tag Manager with a lot of events, and you don't want to create it all over again. But I would advise to have separate tag managers for separate websites. But again, it depends. Maybe it's like very, very similar, and maybe it's just a localized version. Then I guess you could use the same one.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for the question. We have a next one. Hi, Pavelas, great presentation. What's Google Tag Manager for? And what happens, or what do we miss if we don't link GTM to our website?
So Google Tag Manager is not mandatory. So you could install Google Analytics directly into your website code. And, I've seen many websites that do that. But what Google Tag Manager does is it makes things very easy, not only in the initial installation, but also if something changes. So let's say you created events on every button on your website, and now you want to just change something with that event, like just change the event action or something, or the category. You can just use one tag in Google Tag Manager, change that tag, and that's it. And everything changes across all of your website. But if you installed it directly into the website code, then you'll have to go into the code and change everything one by one manually. And it's also faster because, changing the website code it requires like web developers and stuff like that. And you can just do everything yourself in Google Tag Manager. The other version is if you just install the Google Analytics plugin. So that can work really well for, like, let's say the basic installation. But then there's the question, does that plugin, let you create events like Google Tag Manager does? Because, in Google Tag Manager, I can create an event for any button on the website and stuff like that. Usually plugins don't allow this, but maybe you have some plugin that does. But like, I would recommend Google Tag Manager because it has pretty much everything that you may need now or in the future later.
All right, Christian, thank you for your question. I hope you got your answer. The next one we have James Shetfield Fan 1 asks, do we need to use this via WordPress only, or does it work without?
Yeah, it works with, you don't need WordPress. I just chose it as an example because it's a very popular way to create websites, but Google Analytics works on any website, well, unless it's like I don't know, like some maybe like some other types of websites, but it doesn't have to be just WordPress. You can write code yourself and just put Google Analytics in there or Google Tag Manager, and then it's all gonna function the same way.
Okay, thank you. The next one is Krunal, I guess. Thank you guys for the presentation. Question is, how many maximum parameters can we add in reports?
Well, I've never checked the maximum, but once you add the Analysis Hub definitely lets you add like 3 at least, because in the previous version you can only have in a standard report you can have the primary dimension and the secondary dimension, so you could only have 2. But now you can have more than that in the Analysis Hub. But once you go over 3, it's pretty much just becomes a mess unless you have some very clear way that you structured your website. So yeah, you can test out the maximum, but again, it's at some point it's just gonna be visually impossible to understand the whole information.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for the question. The next one is from Handsome Prince. What causes sitemap not accept?
Yeah, so sitemap is more related to Google Search Console, or for organic search results. I guess I assume you mean submitting sitemap to Google Search Console, and actually the Sidekick by Google lets you connect your WordPress website directly to your Google Search Console account. And if you go into Google Search Console, then it can give you a reason why it was not accepted for some reason. But if you use again, a plugin for sitemaps, like Yoast plugin or something like that, then it can probably help you with formatting everything correctly so it's accepted.
All right. Next question we have by the same Krunal. Can we schedule out auto emailing of analytics reports?
Yeah, so a weekly report or something. Yeah, I think that's possible. Yeah, if you create your own custom report.
All right. Puneet here. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Hi, I wanted to know that if I have created a website for a client, how he can manage the bookings or etc.
Yeah, so that depends how you created the website. So if it's WordPress, then you need to give the client access to the WP admin, maybe create a user for him, and then it all has to happen inside WordPress. If it's a WordPress website, if it's a different type of website, then it depends on how the website was created.
Thank you for the question. Next one, Emma. How to link efficiently Google Analytics to Google AdWords?
Yeah, so if you go into the admin panel, you can connect a Google Ads account to Google Analytics. It's pretty much just taken care of by Google. As long as you connect it and everything, there's no errors, then it should be fine. You have to like choose your Google Ads account. If you're using the old version, then you might have some trouble if you connect it to the wrong view or something. But in Google Analytics 4, there are no views anymore. So I think this should be a lot more simple nowadays.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you, Pavelas. Next one is Lee Smithies. Is GTM embedded in HTML code? And Google Analytics, is that embedded in HTML code?
So in the example that I showed, so we used a plugin for WordPress. So yeah, it just embeds it into the WordPress website code. And then yeah, like Google Tag Manager just acts as a container. So whatever code you put inside Google Tag Manager, it just duplicates that inside your website. So theoretically, yeah, it's pretty much how it works. Yeah, so like Google Analytics is just like embedded inside Google Tag Manager, and then Google Tag Manager is just like it just repeats whatever you wrote into the Google Tag Manager container when the website loads.
All right, thank you, Lee. Next one is from Emma again. Can we convert the reports from Google Analytics into Excel and create pivot tables?
Yeah, you just download like a CSV file, and either Excel. I prefer Google Sheets because like everything being in the cloud in case my computer breaks down. But yeah, definitely you can download everything into Excel, and then create pivots or whatever other type of formatting you want to do inside Excel.
Okay, thank you, Emma. Next from is, I won't say the name, I'm very afraid to mispronounce. Hi, I used the HTML tag to connect my WordPress site to Google Analytics by adding it to my header. Is that unsafe? Like to know pros and cons by adding it to header.
So as long as the plugin that you use is safe, then it's reliable. It's like created by Google or some other source that you trust. Then it's fine. The reason why people recommend putting like Google Analytics or Tag Manager into the header of the website is only so that it loads faster. If you put it in the footer, it will still load. Just it might take a bit more time. So it's recommended to add it to the header, but as long as you trust the plugin that you're using.
Thank you. Okay, Inquest Data Analytics asks, hi, sir, how to add keywords in the right format, which are essential for the website, and how to get popularized in Google while searching by other in search engine.
Yeah, so I guess this is for like SEO. So the best thing to do would be probably to get like a plugin for that as well, like Yoast SEO if you're using WordPress. And then it kind of gives you a score. You write in the keyword that you want for the article, and then it will automatically tell you like, did you use this somewhere where Google wants you to use it, like in some heading or somewhere in the text a few times and stuff like that. Yeah, so as long as you know the keyword you're aiming for, then you can use like an SEO plugin like Yoast, and it will help you with that.
All right. Actually, I wanted to ask this one myself, but someone asked it for me. If we are having 2-3 websites, are you recommend to add all the websites to one Google account for Google Analytics?
Well, if it's let's say for different companies, maybe you have like a client that you're creating for. You have like 3 clients and they're completely not connected to each other, then you should definitely create just separate accounts in case you want to give the account to the client. Yeah, like I always found this a bit like confusing, like why can you have like multiple websites under one account unless they're like very similar, again, like maybe localized versions or something like that. Like we actually have in Hostinger, we have localized versions, so we add it to one account. But if it's very different, then I would just opt for different accounts, because if they're not similar, then it's easier to keep everything separate.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Next one is from It's Rocco. How to add author box in the sidebar?
So I guess this is like a WordPress author box thing. So it depends on the theme you're using. So maybe like try to Google how to do it for your theme, and maybe something will come up online, because it really depends on what theme you're using.
Okay, thank you. Next one is from Fariski. Today, is Google have an update for Google Analytics 4? Do we really need to use this new update or stick on old analytics?
So yeah, Universal Analytics, that the older version is great. It works completely fine. I think Google created this new one. They had like especially people who have, like, let's say a website and an app in mind, because you can connect a website and an app into one like Google Analytics property. But for now, like, everything works perfectly fine with the old version. If you have everything set up there, then I don't think there's a need to turn everything off and move into GA4. But it is recommended to have both, just in case something stops working in the old version. But for now, I think GA4 is like, it's also like not completely released yet. So even if you have like an old account in Universal Analytics, Google recommends keeping that old account and using it, because not all features are available in GA4.
Okay, thank you. Next one is from Krunal. Sorry, guys, for repeatedly asking queries, but in my current project, I'm using GTM with Google Analytics 4, but I'm not finding any option to schedule auto email of reports. Do you have any comments on this, maybe?
Well, I mean,
it should be there, right?
I think so. I mean, on the spot, I don't really know where exactly you can find it. So
all right,
yeah.
Krunal, we will get back to you with this question. Yeah, we will answer it later. Next one from It's Rocco again. Our tag really works and help to rank in Google.
So what helps to rank on Google is using Google Search Console and optimizing for SEO and optimizing organic keywords and stuff like that. Tag Manager is just for like installing Google Analytics and checking what happens once people come to your website, but it won't affect what happens in Google search. You need like Google Search Console and SEO optimization for that.
All right. Next one is from Brad Bath, I guess. Hi, what is the best keyword research tool that you can recommend?
Well, there's multiple out there. I really like, let's say, just like Google Trends or something like that, just to have like a general overview. But there's like premium tools like Ahrefs and stuff like that. But there's free tools out there that maybe do something similar. You can even, if you're not looking for a premium tool, like Ahrefs, then you can even like go into Google Ads and check the estimate reports without even launching any campaigns. Just check the estimates just to get an overview of the keyword search quantities. But yeah, the best one I think is Ahrefs, but it's like a paid tool.
All right. I can see that we're out of questions.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So thank you for being so active. It's really amazing that you participate in this webinar. Paulos, do you have anything else to add?
I don't know. Yeah, just use the code AH10 at Hostinger and start building your website if you don't have one yet.
All right, guys.
If
you liked this webinar, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Hostinger Academy, because this is definitely not the last one from us. Thank you, Paulos, for this wonderful and very informative presentation. I can see for myself, I'm going home with a bag of knowledge today. So thank you so much. And I hope we will see you guys in the next one.
All right. Thank you. Good luck.
Bye.